Do you drag yourself out of bed each morning, move through the day like you're wading through mud, and just feel like you can never get enough sleep? Do you get to 3 p.m. and you're on your third or your fourth coffee and it's not even touching the sides? Maybe you've been to the GP, you've rattled off every symptom, like just told them how bone deep your fatigue is. Got brain fog, zero patience, like you're the angriest woman. And you just get told it's fine, like it's normal, you're a busy mum. But you know deep down something's not right. The problem here, as I see it, is that often your primary care people, your doctors, simply just don't have enough time to properly explore your symptoms. But too often, feeling tired is just dismissed as standard for women, especially those over 40 in perimenopause or menopause. And so you might not even get to the doctor because in your mind, this is all normal. It's normal to get old and feel tired, lethargic, exhausted. So you might not even get to the doctor for them to have the opportunity to run through some other factors that might be behind why you're so tired. And then even if you get tests run, blood tests run, those standard ranges that the labs use are really designed around full-blown disease, not like the early shifts or those subtle shifts that can really impact your energy, mood, your metabolism a long time before you get a clear diagnosis. So today, in this episode of Chaos to Calm podcast, I am sharing with you 5 clues or 5 things that you and your doctor might be missing when you say, I'm exhausted. So make sure you stick around to the end because I am going to share with you how to get the right test info and insight, the right questions to ask so that you can get the right answers that are going to help you feel more like yourself again. Before we get into the meat of the episode, though, I do want to tell you about one of my clients, Kirsty, because it really illustrates how common this idea that being exhausted or tired is part of being a mum over 40, but also that there's often a lot behind it. So for years, Kirsty thought, I'm busy. And she was, don't get me wrong. She was doing mum life. She was also running a business on the side and doing paid work as well. So she really did have a lot on her plate. So she thought that feeling this way was just kind of part of all of that and getting older. She'd tried to talk about it before with her doctor, hadn't really got far, so hadn't been back. Things were getting worse, but she hadn't been back. So that's how we met. Her sister had worked with me, and so she'd seen how much better she was feeling, and she wanted to sort of get to the bottom of things for herself, or she just wanted to feel better. So to have energy to do all the things that she needed to do rather than forcing herself to do them. So yeah, we went through our normal process that I do in the Chaos to Calm method. We got together, had a chat, and I got some more of Kirsty's health history. And then she also went and did some extensive blood tests for me. And they were very validating because I could see on there was a lot of stuff contributing to how she was feeling. And apart from being busy, these were all making that worse for her, making it harder for her to do the things that she needed to do. So yeah, when I looked at her blood tests, I could see that she had hypothyroidism, and her ferritin, her iron stores, which is something we're going to talk a bit more about today, was in single digits. So I didn't even know how she was getting out of bed. I do. It was called adrenaline and cortisol. But juggling all that she was doing, it's like she had concrete boots on. Her thyroid not functioning well and her iron stores being so low, it's literally like having concrete boots on her feet and trying to walk around or run a marathon. So once we got those things back on track and boosted her iron stores, stabilized her blood sugar with the way that she ate, gave her body the nutrients it needed to make her energy and her thyroid hormones, she was like a new woman, like unstoppable, and also was able to shift that stubborn weight that she couldn't before. And that's why this really matters. It matters that you don't accept, oh, you're just a busy mum, because there's always reasons behind that besides just perimenopause or besides you're busy or you're stressed out. Your body is doing the best it can to function, but it's a lot harder for it if it doesn't have everything that it needs. And when we can give it what it needs and get those things back in balance, life generally is a lot easier for you. So if you're really tired of being tired, stay with me and let's get into the episode. For those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Sarah, the perimenopause naturopath, and I've helped hundreds of women over 40 navigate perimenopause with confidence so they can feel great in their bodies and reclaim their mood and energy. If you're feeling like your changing hormones are hijacking your mood, energy, and weight, and you want to change that in a holistic way, then this is the place for you, my friend, because each episode I share with you my views on what is happening in your body, why you're feeling the way that you are, and how you can change that with actionable advice to help you move from chaos to calm and feel more comfortable in your body again. So welcome to episode number 94 of Chaos to Calm. Today I am sharing 5 clues about why you're exhausted that you and your doctor might be missing. So let's get straight into those 5 clues. Clue number 1, your thyroid's normal. You could almost insert any blood test result being normal into this, but let's say that your GP, your doctor checks your thyroid stimulating hormone, your TSH, and they say you're fine. Now, I've talked about this a few different times, even the last episode as well, that the TSH is just one part of your thyroid hormones, and it doesn't tell us the whole story about how your thyroid's functioning. So we want to know your free T3 and your free T4 as well. Because what can happen is that your TSH could be at the high end of normal, and the typical lab range is very broad, so that can be quite high. And your free T3, the active thyroid hormone, that could be at the lower end of normal. And the gap in between that would tell us that you're experiencing subclinical hypothyroidism. So it's not overt enough dysfunction to need medication or for your doctor to justify medication, but enough of a problem that you would be feeling the side effects of that: brain fog, fatigue, low iron levels, digestive issues, and lots of problems with your memory and concentration. Hair, maybe your hair falling out, brittle nails, all sorts of things. So research suggests that more adults than what we might think would have this subclinical hypothyroidism, and thyroid problems do become more common with age, especially in women as progesterone declines and changes how our immune system works. And quite often women are blaming themselves, thinking they're lazy or lacking discipline when it comes to weight gain, but actually it could be this subclinical hypothyroid problem behind it. So like I touched on before, the reason that it gets missed is that typical lab ranges for TSH in Australia sit between 0.5 and 4. So that really only flags that severe dysfunction. But when we use like optimal ranges for women, we like that to sit between 1 and 2, and that will help you catch issues long before medication becomes necessary and before it becomes a problem. So the things that you want to ask your doctor about your thyroid is if they will test free T3 and free T4 alongside the TSH, and then you can also compare or think about those to more optimal ranges rather than just the standard lab ranges. And of course, like from my perspective, I'm also looking at and thinking about your nutrient intake there, and are you giving the building blocks for your thyroid to what it needs? Are you giving your thyroid the building blocks it needs to make those hormones or convert the hormones into the active form? So clue number 2, your ferritin is less than optimal. Now, ferritin is essentially your bank savings, what you've got in the bank in terms of iron, because more is not always more. We don't want lots of iron in our bloodstreams because it can cause oxidative stress and damage to our cells and tissues. So ferritin is the protein that your body stores additional iron in. And standard ranges suggest that levels over 30 are just fine. I have noticed that some of the labs are changing it to about 50. But I've seen so many women with ferritin above 50, but sort of in between 50 and 75 or 100, and they're really struggling as well. And sometimes I see women like Kirsty I was mentioning before with single-digit ferritin, and honestly, I don't even know how they're getting up out of bed, but they seem to. And it's probably adrenaline and cortisol, so they're probably approaching burnout there as well, and a full sort of collapse there as well. But it's important to know that your iron, and are you anemic or not, it's not just about hemoglobin or even your red blood cells. It's actually ferritin tells us a lot about your iron levels in your body. So yeah, if your serum iron looks good or even your hemoglobin is in the normal ranges, but you're still feeling really tired, and we've talked about checking your thyroid function, but your ferritin might be too low as well. You just might not have enough iron stores for your body to make robust red blood cells that can carry oxygen around your body so that your cells can make oxygen energy as they need, using that oxygen there as well. So if you're feeling persistently tired, maybe like breathless climbing stairs when you weren't before, or you've got dark circles under your eyes, brittle nails, thinning hair, they can be signs of iron deficiency. And you want to talk to your doctor about running a full iron studies panel that includes ferritin. And then once you have that result, and if you are supplementing, you do want to check it again in a few months' time to see if that supplementing is helping. And if it's not, or if you're eating iron-rich foods but your levels are low, you want to talk to your doctor about why that might be, because what's the reason behind it? That's what we want to uncover and address. You can supplement. You don't want to supplement forever. And also, if it's supplementing is not going to help increase your levels, then what's the point of it? It's just expensive and a waste of time. So if we want to always find out what's going on underneath, it's what I help my clients do, so that we know that we're addressing and resolving the problem. And that's what, then we're resolving it for the long term, not just a short term fix where we just throw some supplements at it and get it up and then it declines again over time. Also, please don't accept that, oh, you're just someone who has to supplement all the time. That's such a bogus I hate that when I hear that. And I do hear it from clients get told that. It's nonsense. There's always some reason behind it that we just need to uncover what that might. Okay, so clue number 3, sleep. Perimenopause, sleep can be just a distant memory. And so many women over 40 sleep fewer than 6 hours per night. It can leave you feeling exhausted, and then you might get to nighttime and you're feeling really tired, but also really wired, so you can't get to sleep. So there are lots of problems in perimenopause with sleep. I'm acknowledging that here as well. But also a lot of times the problem is that we're going to bed too late, or we're scrolling on our phones too late, and then not giving ourselves the opportunity to have 7 to 9 hours sleep per night. So, and you're changing levels of progesterone, you're declining progesterone is part of the problem. It makes it more difficult to sleep, 100%. It does. But that sleep is really important for us in terms of our food choices, energy production, mood, and our weight and insulin resistance there as well. So sleep deprivation can be considered anything less than 6 hours. Now, I talk to lots of women in perimenopause and menopause, and for lots of them, 6 hours would be like a lot. It'd be like the sleep you get when you're on holidays, not the day-to-day sleep. But less than 6 hours sleep can change the foods that you reach for. So you'll often reach for more carbohydrate-rich foods and the snacky foods, and also impacts your insulin production and your cells' response to insulin. So it makes them more insulin resistant. When we have higher levels of insulin in our bloodstream, then we are in fat storage mode. It's really hard to fat burn. Now, the reason that this is one of the basics I would consider one of the primary things that I like to work on with my clients to get them doing well is sleeping, because it's such an underrated tool for your health and your well-being, your mood, your energy, everything. But, doctors they rarely have non-sedative sleep options. So pharmaceuticals is what they've got for you. If you don't want to take that, they'll just tell you to turn your phone off and maybe do some other things, some really basic stuff as well. What I want you to ask yourself is, are you consistently getting somewhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep? Are you giving yourself the opportunity, enough time in bed without a device on, not reading, that sort of thing, to try and get 7 to 9 hours sleep? Are you using practical strategies, good sleep hygiene, like reducing your blue light exposure, supplementing some magnesium and glycine, having protein-rich meals across the day, having a nice sleep environment? Are you using nice sheets and bedding that helps keep you at a stable temperature rather than overheating you or having you be cold? There's lots of different things that you can do to help sleep better. In the show notes, I'll pop a link to a past blog where I talk about how to sleep better in perimenopause, and I'll cover off more of those things as well. But yeah, magnesium and glycine are really wonderful for women in perimenopause and menopause. Glycine helps bring our body temperature down, and we need that temperature drop for us to go into sleep. So 3 grams of glycine is really great in the evening for that. Magnesium, the master relaxing mineral, so that's also really great for us to help us to get to sleep. Now, clue number 4 that you might be missing, your doctor might be missing too, is your blood sugar and insulin and the yo-yo or roller coaster that they can be on. So your fasting glucose might be fine in the normal ranges. Again, it could be fine, but that may not be good or optimal for you. And it doesn't tell us about your insulin levels and how your body is managing with insulin and your fat storage there as well. Because remember, elevated insulin drives belly fat, but also if your glucose and your insulin are up and down all day, mood swings, energy crashes, and poor sleep are all going to be part of your picture there as well. So yeah, glucose doesn't tell us the whole story. Fasting insulin can be useful, but, or looking at your blood glucose levels and your triglycerides and other markers in your blood tests that tell us about how you're managing carbohydrates there as well. And of course, good old-fashioned looking at your food diary as well and seeing what you're eating and when tells us a lot about what's going on with your blood glucose and your energy. Blood glucose and insulin, sorry. One great way that we can test whether insulin resistance is likely part of your picture is your waist to height ratio. So measure your waist in centimeters or inches and your height in centimeters or inches and divide your waist by your height. It'll give you a ratio. You want that to be below 0.5. When it's below 0.5, that tells us that there's unlikely to be insulin resistance happening in your body, and you've got that metabolic flexibility and you're able to use carbohydrates, glucose or fat or protein as your fuel sources there as well. If it's over 0.5, then losing weight around the middle is going to help bring that down and help with your insulin management too. So if you do have a fasting insulin test done, it's really difficult to lose weight if your fasting insulin is above 8, even if you're doing all the right things. So that's something to know there as well. So you might want to have fasting insulin done or ask your doctor about that, or maybe do a post-meal blood glucose test a couple of hours after eating. That'll tell you a lot. Or even choose a continuous glucose monitor. That'll tell you a lot over a 2-week period of how your body's responding to different foods and different situations. And you get the opportunity to see if you are tired, like if you haven't had a good night's sleep, how that impacts your blood glucose levels the next day. So if you are going to do a continuous glucose monitor, I would encourage you to then be able to share that data with a health practitioner who can actually help you do something with all that information there as well. Because it's not about getting you to cut out lots of different foods or, I can't eat that because it makes my blood glucose spike. It's about helping your body respond better to the carbohydrates, the glucose, the different components of your food, and also to help it with your insulin levels and your insulin resistance as well to resolve the problem in the long term. Okay, last clue is really, we talked a bit about this last week with your DHEA, but your cortisol and DHEA are out of sync with your body there as well. So your stress hormone should peak in the morning. Like we want our cortisol level to start rising in the morning to stop us from going into a hypoglycemic coma, so we can get up out of bed and find some food to eat and eat it. And then they'll curve over the day and gradually drop by bedtime. Now, chronic stress, whether that's physical from like under-eating, over-exercising, or poor sleep patterns, or mental and emotional stress there as well. But long-term chronic stress can really flip that rhythm or mess it up. And that can leave you feeling really tired in the morning still, but then that wired but tired feeling at night where you want to go to sleep, but you can't. And then you get that second wind, and next thing it's like 1 a.m. and you're still awake and still, I don't know, vacuuming the curtains or doing something like that. Now, remember from last week's episode, DHEA is like our anti-aging hormone, and it gives us some va-va-voom. Then it's impacted by our stress levels and our stress hormones as well. And when it's low, it can leave us feeling low in terms of our mood, libido, and energy there as well. So your doctor might happily test your DHEAS levels and compare them to age-appropriate ranges, but you might also be able to do a cortisol test, a diurnal one around 8 a.m. in the morning and one in the late afternoon there as well. So you can try and get a picture of whether your cortisol's sort of peaking when it should be and coming down when we want it to as well. So that brings us to the end of our session today, Hello, client. Episode today, where we've talked through those 5 sort of clues or 5 things that might be missed when you say you're tired. So thinking about your thyroid and how it's functioning. Maybe you've got a subclinical hyperthyroid picture. Maybe your iron stores are low, your ferritin is low. Your sleep is probably disrupted, but what are you doing to help try and maximize or help improve your sleep rather than just writing it off as, oh, I can't sleep in perimenopause there as well. Always thinking about blood glucose and insulin. Insulin and cortisol are the master hormones in your body. They set the tone and they influence all of the other hormones and systems of your body as well. So really important to think about what's going on for you in terms of your insulin and your cortisol there. So I've given you lots of knowledge in this episode as well, things to think about, questions to ask so you can get the answers for. I've got lots of past blogs and podcast episodes to help you once you've got the answer there as well. And of course, that's what I do with my clients in my programs, is help them get the answers and also take the action that they need to resolve the issue. Because yes, you've got knowledge, you're ready to advocate for yourself, ask the right questions and get yourself back on track. But knowing these things is very empowering, but it's only empowering or useful if you understand how they apply to you and then also do something with the information, take the needed action. So remembering, if you want to stop piecing this together alone, that's what I do inside my high touch program, the Chaos to Calm method. I spend time to get to know you, your health history, and then we get the right blood tests for you so that we can get more of a fuller, broader picture of what's happening in your body. We'll look at those through a functional lens using optimal ranges so that they do tell us more about what's happening inside your body. And then I'll build you a personalized nutrition plan that will work for you to, as I said, address what's actually underlying, what's driving how you've been feeling for that long-term health. And then you get to feel calm, in control, and comfortable in your body again. It's funny because I was talking to a client the other day and she was like to me, oh, I was thinking about, I've lost some weight and she's lost like 6 kilos in 6 weeks, which is great. But she was like, I just feel really calm and like okay with everything. And then she was like, oh, duh, of course, it's the Chaos to Calm method. So it's not just a funny name. It's like actually what my clients feel during that is more calm and in control and comfortable in their body there as well. So if you'd like to understand what's happening for you and actually be able to do something about it, go to the show notes. The link is there for you to book a free clarity call, and that's how you get started with working with me, and we can talk about whether it is suitable for you and the right thing for you to do. So please do remember to share this episode with someone who's tired of being tired so they can get the answers that they need as well. And until next time, I'm Sarah, the Perimenopause Naturopath, helping you move from chaos to calm one step at a time.